أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كتب الله لأغلبن أنا ورسلي. Surah Al-Mujadila, verse number 22. The translation of this verse is that Allah has decreed, Allah has written down that Allah and His true messengers will always be victorious. Nowadays, for example, today and for the next few days, different Jamaats are going to be celebrating the Jalsa Yom-e-Masih Maud. What we are actually celebrating, what we are actually commemorating is the truthfulness of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. When we went out today, many of us were holding placards in their hands saying that the Messiah has come. When we go out, many people come up to us and say, how do you know for certain that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani alayhi salatu wasalam is true in his claim that he is indeed the promised Messiah and Imam Mahdi and a subordinate prophet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Where is the proof? This verse, which I just recited from Surah Al-Mujadila, is actually the litmus test Allah Ta'ala has given to test the truthfulness of any claimant throughout history and in future as well. When Hazrat Adam alayhi salam put forth his claim, his biggest opponent was Iblis. You look at who became victorious at the end of the day. Was it Iblis or was it Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam? Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam became victorious. Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. That was the first manifestation of Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. Then when Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam came, who became victorious? Him or his opponents? His opponents, every single one of them drowned. And Nuh alayhi salam became victorious. Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. Then came the time of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Nimrod, the king of that time, lit a fire to burn Ibrahim alayhi salam in that fire. But despite all of that, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam came out of it victorious. And today, nobody remembers the name of Nimrod. Nobody says that they are the children or the progeny of Ibrahim, of Nimrod. But we have millions upon millions, actually billions of people who claim that they are from the children of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. When Musa alayhi salatu wasalam put forth his claim, Pharaoh stood up against Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and he with his people drowned and Musa alayhi salam became victorious. Another manifestation of Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. When Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam put forth his claim, his opponents were disgraced. And it was Isa alayhi salam who became victorious. Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. And when our beloved master, Sayyidul Anbiya, Fakhrul Anbiya, Sayyid Wulde Adam, Khatamun Nabiyyin sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he put forth his claim, Abu Jahl raised his head against the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was destroyed and so was Umayyah bin Khalf and everyone who followed in their suit. And at the end of the day, who was victorious? Our beloved master Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is Kataballahu la aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. So in this day and age, when Sayyidina Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Qadiani alayhi salatu wasalam put forth his claim, a man who raised his head as the arch enemy of Masih Maud alayhi salam was none other than Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi. Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi was no ordinary name. The year 1878 marks the year when Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi, a childhood friend of Masih Maud alayhi salam, becomes a scholar of Ahl Hadith, as a leader of Ahl Hadith, and he starts his monthly publication called Ishat al-Sunnah. It readily becomes one of the most read publication in Indo-Pak subcontinent. He becomes so famous that when he visits a town, people, the shopkeepers, would come outside of their shops and bow down in front of him, paying homage to him, that a great leader of the Muslims has appeared among them. This is Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi. When Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam in the year 1880 writes his magnum opus, Baraheen-e-Ahmadiyya, the same Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi writes in his magazine, in his newspaper, Ishat al-Sunnah, that the author of this book, Baraheen-e-Ahmadiyya, has rendered such a great service for Islam that in the last 13 centuries after Rasulullah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, no one has rendered such services for Islam. Fast forward another 10 years, 1890 is when Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam puts forth his claim. He is the Imam Mahdi, he is the promised Messiah alayhi salam. And the same Moulvi now turns against him. Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi writes in his Ishat al-Sunnah that I am the one who became the cause of Mirza Sahib alayhi salatu wasalam's ascension. I am the one who's now going to bring him down, God forbid. Let's see how Kataballahu la aghlibana ana wa rasuli manifested in the life of Masih Maud alayhi salam versus the life of Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi. So when in 1890 Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam puts forward his claim, we all heard in 1889 only 40 people on the first day of the Ba'ath accepted his claim. And he did not make the claim that he's the promised Messiah or Imam Mahdi at the time he started to accept the Ba'ath. He passed away in 1908. Before he passed away, close to 500,000 people, accepted and embraced the message of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. 4 years from that day when he passed away, 1912, the time was of Jalsa Salana Qadian, and Jalsa had just finished, and some MDs decided on their way back from Qadian that they would stop over in Batala to visit Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi, the arch nemesis of Masih Maud alayhi salam, to go and see in what condition Moulvi Mohammd Hussain is in. So they report that Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi Sahab had 7 sons, 3 daughters from multiple wives. One of his wife dies, one of his wife leaves him. All 7 of his kids become irreligious. They curse Islam, they don't want to pray, and when they are forced to pray, they pray without wudu, cursing at salat. They became thieves, looters. They even conspired to kill their own father, Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi. They became fornicators. His own daughters, all 3 of them, they were married to scholars. All of those son-in-laws became the opponents of Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi, and all of the daughters of Moulvi Mohammd Hussain left him and became his enemies. Every single person in the life of Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi left him and became his enemy. Don't take my words. These are the words of Moulvi Mohammd Hussain himself, which he published in Ishat al-Sunnah. That all of his sons, his daughters, his son-in-laws, even his surviving wife had become corrupt. So when Masih Maud alayhi salam in 1908 passed away, he had close to 500,000 following. 4 years later in 1912, who was following Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi? Let's have a look at that. These MDs decide to pay Moulvi Mohammd Hussain Sahab a visit, so they go to his home and they find that Moulvi Mohammd Hussain is actually not at home. He has gone to the bazaar to get some grocery. So they ask his daughter, who was at home from his second marriage, a young girl of maybe 10 years of age. The MDs ask, where is your father? And she says, my father has gone to the bazaar to get some wood and maybe something of flour or something like that, so that we can maybe perhaps cook something and eat today. The MDs ask, your father doesn't have any servant who can run these chores on his behalf? She says, the young kids whom Maulvi Sahib teaches at the mosque, Qaida Baghdadi, equivalent of Yasan al-Quran, they would at times go and help us out, but their own family members have said that do not bother our kids anymore. So now Maulvi Sahib has to go on his own. The MDs ask, who is Maulvi Sahib teaching nowadays? What is the schedule of Maulvi Sahib? And the daughter says, Maulvi Sahib goes in the morning to the masjid, leads the prayer, gives some kids, young kids from the mahalla, from the neighborhood, some lesson in Qaida Baghdadi, comes back home, then goes back to masjid for salat, and then gives them leave, comes back home, and then goes out and tries to find some food that we can eat. While she was mentioning this, Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi comes home. And these MDs say, Maulvi Sahib, let's go have a look at your masjid. And they walk with Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi, and some of them are talking to Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi, while some other go and see the condition that Maulvi Mohammd Hussain's mosque, and especially the washroom of the mosque, is in, where people are supposed to go make wuzu. The muezzin of the mosque of Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi was a blind man who would defecate at night time in that washroom on the floor. On the floor. It was in nasty condition. They say that the prayer rug, the mat, the chatai where people were to pray, it was so torn up and in such a bad condition and such an inadequate size that if a person stood on the prayer rug or the mat, their head would bump into the wall. Nobody would come and learn from Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi. His own kids left him. I spoke about the moral degradation and condition of his children, all of them. So when the MDs, they tell him that Maulvi Sahib, we're coming from our Jalsa in Qadian, look at how Allah Ta'ala blessed Masih Maud alayhi salam, and look at the dire condition that you are in. When are you going to see the truth? And Maulvi Mohammd Hussain Batalvi has the audacity to say that does not matter how worse my condition gets, I'm still not going to believe in Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. Ask your heart, Kataballahu la aghlibana ana wa rusuli. Has it not been fulfilled in the person of Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam or not? Look at how the horrendous end of Maulvi Mohammad Hussain was. In the year 1991, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Rabi Rahimahullah Ta'ala goes to Jalsa Salana Qadian, and on his way to Qadian, Hazur sends his private secretary, I believe, who was Hadi Ali Chaudhry Sahib at that time. Hazur sends Hadi Ali Chaudhry Sahib with some local people to go and inquire in Batala if there are either some relatives of Maulvi Mohammad Hussain or some students or some people who may recognize his name. And after a few days of research, they came back and reported to Hazur, and Hazur presented this research in front of Jalsa Salana Qadian audience. He says that there was not a single soul in Batala who could say that, yes, they have heard the name of Maulvi Mohammad Hussain Batalvi. Not even one. Not even one. So they decided to go and maybe perhaps try to find the graveyard where this person was buried. And even the graveyard where Maulvi Mohammad Hussain Batalvi was once buried has now been bulldozed over, and even the name or the mention of that graveyard has been blotted from the official registers. This is Kataballahu Lagli Banana Wursul. But you see, Abu Jahl did not accept Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But Abu Jahl's own son Ikrima, he became a Sahabi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and he accepted Hazrat Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Same happened that Maulvi Mohammad Hussain Batalvi did not accept Masih Maud alayhi salam, but one of his grandsons, his Nawasa, his daughter's son, accepted Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam. And at the occasion of Jalsa Salana Qadian a few years ago, in front of thousands of people, he gave the testimony that yes, Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam is true, and his own grandfather, Maulvi Mohammad Hussain Batalvi, is false. This is Kataballahu Lagli Banana Rasul. The same Messiah, the same Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. This is why that I, as an individual, with 100% certainty believe that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani alayhi salatu wasalam is indeed from Allah Ta'ala. And last but not least, he gave us Nizam-e-Wasiyat. Our Khalifa, Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasr, since 2004 has been telling us that every single office holder should become a Musi. And he has said that other people who have jobs, they should also become Musiyan. Since 2004, it's been 17 long years. My question to all of you is, how long is it going for us to say labbaik to the call of our Khalifa? It's been 17 long years. What are we waiting for? What is it going to take? Has the pandemic not made us look? Has this pandemic not opened up our eyes? Have we not realized that there is a greater pandemic all around us for so many decades that has been consuming the lives of everyone around us? The pandemic of kufr, the pandemic of disbelief and materialism. Is this the legacy we want to pass on to our next generation? Is my parting question to all of us. When are we going to say labbaik to the call of our Imam and say, yes, Huzur, we will become Musi? May Allah Ta'ala open our hearts. May Allah Ta'ala bless us. May Allah Ta'ala give us the opportunity to say labbaik to our Imam, whom Allah Ta'ala has appointed. May Allah Ta'ala make it so. Ameen wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.